Greetings, my fellow Legionnaires, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new series of vanilla RimWorld version 1.4 with Biotech DLC, a series called We Are Legion. This series will highlight Mechanator mechanics and a little bit of gene editing as well. If you'd like to skip the overview, please use YouTube chapters. Episode 1, We Are Legion. We Are Legion is a vanilla RimWorld Biotech series about a guerrilla warfighting squad formed to resist the dominance of the Sophian Empire. The Sophian Empire recently reunited under a common banner of genocide against lesser species of Pigskins, Dirtmoles, Impids, wasters, and others. Our outcasts banded together to find weapons, technology, and tools to fight back against the Empire and halt their genocidal death march spreading across the world. The rules: no pacifists, children, sanguophages, or psycasters are allowed. Executing or rehoming is required. Legionnaires must be sterilized, so every member that joins has to be sterilized first and also convert to our ideology. Bioengineering is restricted to 2 xenogenes only. I do have another xenogene series coming soon. It looks like the Wendigos is coming for a remake, and that's going to be a heavily gene modded series, so in this one, I'm covering mostly Mechanators. And the goals: to seek out powerful technology, i.e. mechs, and fight against the Empire, and to wipe them out. The scenario is Randy Random losing his fun. It has default factions, all DLCs are enabled. I start with a Hussar, a Dirtmole, an Impid, a Waster, a Genie, and a Pigskin. We are loyalist, individualist proselytizers. And I'm using 3 mods: color-coded mood bar, no time change sounds, and Fahrenheit and Celsius, because it has finally been updated. Well, not finally, I mean, it hasn't been very long. So here we are. And I am going to, and this is going to take a minute, I'm going to cover what the different xenotype species are, so that you can understand the difference between a Hussar and a Dirtmole, so on and so forth. But here's the world. It's a unremarkable world, very default, with a bunch of Shattered Empire around us. As far as factions go, we have the League of Freedom, which is kind of our only ally with the Sanctus tribe, and they are also just individualist. The Laurum Drove, the Pig Union. Sanctus tribe, just a gentle tribe of baseliners. The tribe of Cartro, they are Neanderthals. The Severaz, which is a savage Impid tribe. The Yatkin clan, they're Edekin pirates. And then the Poison Toxers, and they are the Waster pirates. And then, of course, the Sophian Empire, with baseliners, Hussars, Genies, and Neanderthals. So, speaking about species a little bit, the characters in this series is Mass. So Mass is a Hussar, which means that they're genetically, psychically deaf, meaning they can't psycast or mechanoid cast, or and then they are kind of super soldiers. They're kind of the background. So they're super fast wound healing, and this is default. I didn't change Hussars at all, mind you. So they're really bad at animal taming, art, and social, and plants, but great at melee and shooting. They're unstoppable, which is pretty incredible, which means there is no stagger. So if you're ever like trying to run away from someone and they hit you and it stops you or slows you down, yeah, not Hussars. They just keep going. They just keep going. They're partially toxic immune. They're hyper aggressive, which means they get into a lot of social fights, and their mental breaks are almost always violent. They have reduced pain, and they come with red eyes, as you can see the glowing red eyes up there. They're cold tolerant, heat tolerant, cyclically deaf. And then Mass, of course, is a jogger, kind, and asexual with these skills, and capable of art. Turtle is a Dirtmole. So he is tough, industrious, brawler, and slowpoke. Slowpoke is a genetic trait. And Dirtmoles are good at melee. They hate the sun. They're slow, and it really makes them upset. They're great at mining. They do have dark vision, so being in the darkness does not matter to them. And they do heal a little bit faster. But they're nearsighted, which means that they can't shoot long distance. A lot of the species introduced into biotech are nearsighted, so be careful trying to turn them into like snipers or long-ranged assault or something like that. Then we have Bryce. Bryce here is Impid. So he has trigger happy, iron-willed, and pretty. And then Impids can spew fire once every 4 days. They are also fire resistant and very heat tolerant. They're pessimists, but they are very fast. They suck at melee, meaning they do about half normal damage at melee. And they're bad farmers and animal tamers because they are native to the desert where there's not a lot of crops. They do have weak immunity, so they don't recover as quick. And they do have a slow wound healing. So it's important to keep your Impids from harm. Next, we have Genies. Diamond. So he's a fast learner, quick sleeper, and sanguine. And then he is the genetic traits of Wimp and Delicate. Delicate means you take extra damage. It's kind of the opposite of tough. And then as far as the xenogenes, he is dead calm. Will never do social fights. Mental breaks are never violent and never prison break. So they are sort of psychopaths. They're bad at relationships nonetheless. They do experience extra pain. So, they're wimps. And they're delicate. So they're not frontliners. Not at all. They're always hairless and beardless with thin bodies and elongated fingers, which increases their manipulation, which means they can also be pretty good at things like medicine. And they're great crafters, great intellectual, but suck at social plants and animals. We have Cypher here. Cypher is a waster, so they're genetically ugly. And he is a fast walker, steadfast, and bloodlust. So wasters are ones that lived and adapted on sort of polluted worlds. One other thing that I should mention is some of our species have genetic dependencies. So hussars require go juice. And if they don't get go juice at least once every year, they die. And then once every 30 days, they fall into a coma. So it's a 30-day coma, and then you're dead. So they do require go juice every 5 days. I mention this because Cypher requires some sort of psychite every 5 days. Same sort of deal. So in terms of the species, they are super immune. So they're hard to get sick. They are totally immune to environmental toxins, which is great. So toxic fallout or pollution doesn't bother them. They're aggressive and ugly. They do depend on psychite. They are immune to wake-up addictions, which means that they can take wake-up whenever they kind of want and they won't get addicted. They're bad cooks, animal tamers, and artists. And then they also have pollution stimulus. They gain a little bit of a stat bonus when they're in pollution because they're adapted to it. And then last but not least, we have Klein. Klein is a pigskin. He is nimble, hardworking, and psychically hypersensitive. And pigskins have strong immunity and reduced pain. So they're pretty good at tanking. They come with pig ears and a pig voice, hulk or fat bodies. They are not great cooks because they can eat raw. So this is an interesting one, robust digestion, which is that they gain extra nutrients from eating raw, and they don't care about eating raw. So there's really no need for pigskins to cook. Unless you want to cook for the mood benefit, they can eat raw food, no problem. They are nearsighted, however, and they have lower manipulation due to their trotter hands. They're kind of Vulcan trotter hands, right? Because they don't have, full digits. And that would be the cast that we have. I went over the factions, so it's time to go. Time to set up some basic shelter. If you have any specific questions about the series, feel free to use the channel point redemption for ask a question about the game. All right, so first things first, let's look at the map. So we have this long sort of ridge here in the mountain, which protects from the west. This smaller one, and it gets real thin here, so that's very sapper breach delicate. From the east, I'm going to be settling into this middle valley, if you will. But yep, that's the map. And then we also have the Ancient Exostrider midsection over there that we'll be dealing with pretty soon. So before I start, let's do work priorities. Firefight. Doctor. We don't need childcare because there won't be children. For obvious reasons, because we're all just soldiers, I have a hard, fast rule of no children. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to cover is the ideology. So we're loyalists, individualists, proselytizers. Biosculpt is accelerated, proselytizing frequent, and rough living and temperature tough as well. We don't like cannibalism, but organ harvesting is totally fine. We don't care about corpses, but of course they do make us sick, so we'll have to deal with them. Nutrient paste doesn't bother us. Slavery is acceptable, but I'm not planning on having slaves. It's just so that we can get rid of unwanted colonists. I can gift them to other factions. Think of it as rehoming, not so much selling them into slavery and, you know, whatever. And then, of course, everybody is also sterilized. So there is no chance for babies of our original 6. So the work priorities are done, and because of the species that I have, they're going to get hungry really, really fast. One of the things that happens when you have a bunch of stronger genes is that your hunger rate increases. That's generally the penalty. So we're going to have to deal with that. So this is going to be a rice zone. And I'm going to have my planters head up that way. Does Psychite tea fulfill the need for Psychite every 5 days? Yes. But Go Juice requires Go Juice, as one would imagine. And then I am going to plan a kitchen. I'll put a kitchen here. So next to the kitchen, I am going to want a stone cutter. So we can start to cut stone for the kitchen walls. And let's get weapons. So Cypher, you're Bloodlust. I'm going to give you a rifle. Mass, you're an unbelievably good shooter. Give you a rifle. Diamond, you're very delicate. I'm going to give you a revolver. Bryze, you're a jogger and trigger happy. A rifle as well. Klein, I'm going to give you the breach axe. And then Turtle, you're going to get the dagger, or the knife rather, and the helmet. And then Bryze, because you're also fast, I'm going to give you the flak pants and flak vest because you're not very tough, but you're fast, so extra armor will do you good. And then let's also allow everything so that people will automatically haul to stockpile. So here we go. One thing I'm going to do is, for right now, I'm going to say no drugs. Now, no drugs allows for people to use drugs for addictions, which also means dependencies. So setting them on no drugs doesn't stop someone like Mass from still consuming Go Juice or someone like Cypher from consuming Psychite. It just means that nobody else is going to be wasting that stuff. I'm going to be doing proper drug policies once we have the luxury of actually having drug supply. But for now, just to make sure that nobody is using the Go Juice recreationally, no drugs required. And then setting the clothing up so that it avoids tattered. Because I don't need a bunch of tattered clothing being worn. Right, buddy? Yeah, of course. Alright, so Turtle's going to get farming. And then the constructors, we should see starting to build the stone cutters. In terms of what's out there for the rest of the map, let's see. There are 4 meals here. And I don't really see scattered steel, unless my eyes are missing it. Yep, there's some scattered steel here, and they'll be hauling that in automatically. Alright, come on. There's the table. Alright, and then the other thing that we're going to want pretty early on is a table and chairs. I don't exactly know where it's going to go, but I know that we're going to want that so that we avoid the eating. Well, we are actually rough living, so it's not that big of a deal. But getting recreation early is kind of nice. And then also beds. Nobody's in a relationship. Everybody is just or either acquaintances or friends with one another. So that's going to be important. So initially, I'm going to say do granite blocks, because granite blocks will make for good walls. And I can make furniture out of marble. The map tile here is, I believe, just granite and marble. No, there's sandstone as well. I don't see any sandstone. Did I misread that? Oh, no. Granite marble. Okay. And the growing season's about 2/3 of the year, FYI. So with the granite that we're getting, I'm going to plan the kitchen. So we'll have a door and a door leading to a dining room. And I can... Oh, we haven't cut yet. So I'll cut these specific trees that are in the way. We should be up to speed pretty soon. Alright, so there's kitchen with wooden doors. The other thing is, let's immediately jump to a freezer. So I'm going to put some coolers in there. And then, oddly enough, I'm going to put a cooler like this as well. I'm going to put 3 coolers. And then this cooler is going to dump into the dining room. This cooler is going to dump into the dining room when it is cold out. And I'll turn off other coolers. Which means that we're going to want power. I'm going to do wood fire Jenny. And I'll put that here. There we go. So this will be the kitchen. And I'll just concrete it up because I think there's probably a lot of steel on this mountain tile. Who is my best constructor? Cypher? Okay, make sure Cypher makes the chess table because it is driven by quality. And we're still just hauling things in. One big difference in this patch is that rain destroys items pretty quickly. Do the dependencies still affect organs long term? No. Their bodies are genetically dependent on it. They don't get the sort of like cirrhosis or destruction of organs as a result of the drug use because they're adapted to it. Think Shrimply Pibbles in Rick and Morty, who lived on a world that was full of heroin, you know, in the air. Yeah, that might be an obscure reference, but yeah, that's sort of what this is like. The toxers, the wasters here don't get harmed by psychic, they just require it. Alright, rice is getting sown. Once he's done sowing rice, I might sow some psychoid leaves. Just to make sure that we have a supply. And then the other thing I'm going to want to do, not that it matters because we are rough living, but I'd like to sleep on beds because it will allow us to recover more quickly. It's not like it's not for morale, it's just for productivity. And hopefully they're good beds. Hopefully. Looks to me like we might need to cut down some trees. So who is the second planter? That would be Cypher. So Cypher, I'm going to have you on plant duties, and then I'm going to queue just a bunch of trees around us to be chopped. So that we have the furniture for our people. And then I'll also get rid of the trees that are blocking this construction project, which is convenient. All right. Bed number 6 is done. I think the next thing that I'd like to do, besides walling this in and making the power, is to get a research bench going. But I'll probably make the research bench out of marble instead of granite. Granite's better for walls, and then the research bench would be good for marble. So I'll have Klein start cutting marble instead. We need 75 for a research bench. Orloff, thanks for the resub. And Baby Zebra as well. And Trick, a full year to you. Cheers. I'll drink to that. So it looks like our coffee went down the wrong tube. It looks like our kitchen is almost done. Very dirty, but almost done. I don't believe there's any pollution on this map tile. So now that that's done, let's queue up some other grow zones. So opening this up, I'm going to leave a little bit of space, but one of the first things I'm going to do is grow psychoid. Because our lives literally depend on it. And then I'll also grow let's see, probably cotton after that, but I'm gonna grow the psychoid first. And then I'll put hue root back here. Or maybe tinctoria. I'm gonna forbid that for now. I'll put my heel root way back here. So that if there is a fire, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to nest the farming kind of behind the structures so it's not targeted by raiders to set on fire because of how much we're dependent on drugs. Another thing I should do is to take Turtle and put Turtle on somewhat of a night owl schedule because he is so light sensitive. He is not a night owl in that he benefits from being awake at night, but the sun slows him down and hurts his eyes and lowers his morale. Although he is the happiest person in the colony right now, but that might change. He's also more vulnerable because Turtle is a Dirtmole, and they already move slow. So moving slow and also being in the sun makes it even worse. They are very easy to catch. Until they're underground. Do I have any immediate plans for good juice acquisition? Yes, I do. We can just research it, and all we would need to do is buy Nuturamine, and we'd be all set. But I'll be polling for that soon. I'm not going to make that decision unilaterally. Yes, it isn't mentioned, but all factions are default. It actually was mentioned in the details. Factions are completely default. I didn't change them at all, and by default, insects and mechanoids are enabled. And these are all the default factions that you get now playing RimWorld. You get a civil Outlander Union, a rough pig union, a gentle tribe, a fierce Neanderthal tribe, a savage Impid tribe, Edekin pirates, waster pirates, and a shattered empire. When you have all DLCs enabled, that is default. So, plus insects and mechanoids. So it was kind of implied. I wonder who showed up with Smoke Leaf as personal possessions. No one had an addiction. I'm going to guess it was Turtle. He's already slow. So he's going to take the blame for that one. The other thing I'm going to try to plant here is corn. I'm going to do a giant swath of corn. So that I don't know if it's going to be harvestable by the time summer rolls around, but I hope. Or by winter rolls around, rather. But I hope so. And we are enclosed. It's dirty as hell, but we are enclosed. Alright, I believe we have enough marble to start working on the research bench. What are we running for? Oh, steel. The other thing I could start to do is to have our Dirtmole here mine. So there's steel here, steel there. Go for this steel. He's still sort of dealing with the whole getting the farm up and ready. We also might want a little tinctoria. Oh no, I have tinctoria. I might want more of it, but we'll see. Psychoid farm. Rice paddy. Overt patch. Tinctoria patch. Cotton farm. Or cotton field, I guess, technically, right? And then cornfield. They don't need names, but whatever. Might as well. All right, and this is right now the general stockpile. The stockpile of everything. The one true stockpile. And we're about to get the generator on, so that means we can start to hunt and butcher and the like. So I think what I'll do is... Where do I want to set up the butchery? Maybe I'll set up a little butchery here. Like that. A little smaller. And then... if I'm doing that, I am going to dump the heat to the right because I can add another building here that benefits from the heat. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll dump it to a chimney because I don't want two coolers. Okay, looking good. So here's the research bench, and I'll retask Diamond to go on research once that is built. And I am not going to worry about the freezer until we actually have meat in there. So I can actually turn the wood-fired generator off for now. All right, looks like, Turtle, you got the psychoid field completely done. So let's start getting the corn sown. And you did do a little bit of mining, but I'll queue up some more. Did we grab those random meals that were out west? We must have. Because I don't see them anymore. Alright, then let's also get a recreation room. I'm going to have it be slightly larger. And then I'll move the beds so that they're actually not in the way of the walls. And stick a door. For now, I guess just wood, but maybe the material changes over time. But a wood door there. All right, you're grabbing steel for the stockpile. Nice. So as far as production goes, we'll get a butcher table here. And then I'll put some shelving in there eventually, but for now it's just going to be a corpse dump stockpile. So this is going to be for fresh animal, non-insect corpses. What is preferred. Any steam geysers nearby? Not really, no. There's one down here, which is kind of nearby. But as far as I know, there really aren't. We're not going to be relying on steam, it seems. Don't forget it to be disabled my the tox packs for this. Oh, true. Yeah. No items either. Although, it wouldn't be a terrible place to store them, but they can't be stored on shelves. So. Alright, United Owl. Looks like you are doing a really good job of getting the corn in. And then I will unforbid the other things. I'm going to do the heal root last because heal root doesn't die in the cold, so it's less urgent, I think. Did they roof the chimney? They did. They did. Like you do. Now I'm wondering if I should probably immediately jump to tiling up the recreation room, or just leave it as is with like concrete. Maybe I'll concrete it for now and then tile it once we have an abundance later on. Because I'm still working on the basic shelter and we still haven't accomplished that. So I think spending resources and time tiling up floors might be a poor use of our time. Alright, so it's prompting me for a research project, and I am going to have you all vote for that. So here it kind of obscures me a little bit, but here's the poll. Colonist recreation, crafting, defenses and armaments, fertility and genetics, power, travel, drug dependencies, or faster research. You're all the bosses. Sashi, thank you for the resub. And Saponified as well, and Stevie Viper. Cheers. Alright, looks like the walls are getting together. I'm sure I'm digging into overhead mountain here. Yeah, I am, but I don't care. Hey, Zeefy! Thank you for the resub as well. Now, it looks like drug dependencies is going to win. So I am going to have Diamond jump to that immediately. But if you want to, if this poll changes, I will pivot. But drug dependencies are kind of important because we die without them. Or we go into a coma for a long time. It's not so punishing like Luciferium is, where it's just, oh, immediate death, do not pass go, you're dead now. There is a bit of a grace period, but with that said, don't sleep on that because you won't be graced for very long. There we go. Beds are now not blocking stuff. Except for turtles. There we go. Nest these in the corner, so they're not in the way. And now that we're going to be enclosed, I'm going to get the power back on. Because we're going to want the light levels. Because Diamond doesn't have dark vision. Maybe at some point he'll hold dark vision, but that day is not today. Okay, we're pretty low on food. So here's what I'm going to do. Butcher creature, forever, tiny radius. And then butcher until I have, let's say, 500 meat. That's a good start. And I'm going to start, I don't care what we shoot. Start sending out my hunters to hunt. I think for now, I'm going to have Mass be the only hunter. Because she's a jogger, and she has unbelievably high skill shooting. And it looks like we're going to be working on drug dependencies. Set up basic shelter and research drugs. Now, in terms of priorities for building, here you go. Here's another poll. So what do you think I should work on, like, building and producing? Food security and variety, drug availability, defenses and security, morale and comfort, crafting and storage, or something else. So these are sort of generalized, and they're generalized for good reason, so that I can interpret it and set it up whatever we need most for our colony. So you are... Just shoot something close. There you go. You don't have dark vision, but yeah. You got it. Alright. That also means, how much excess power do I have? 800 watts? Because these aren't doing anything. Let's get an electric stove. And then get some marble shelving. So I'll put the meals on this shelf. And I'll put veg and meat and psychoid on these shelves so that it's just a little easier for us to deal with. I'll eventually get everything on shelves because it's more space efficient. But for now, with our limited amount of stone and other resources, I'm good with just the basics. Alright, looks like it's time for Tinctoria and Healroot, and also some additional mining. And I'll queue this to be mined up as well. And all of this. So that you're never idle. Hey, rest in peace. Thank you for the resub. And player Tinax, thank you for the follow. Cheers. The corpses are not yet set to freezing. because only literally just now I got something worth freezing. Because it's not like pack of survival meals are gonna go bad when they're roofed. So far, moods are holding, which is good. The drone sucks, but could be worse. And then once we have that basics set up, I am looking at that exostrider. I want to hit that sooner than later. So this shelf here is going to be for meals. We'll put this as important that are not packaged survival meals. Oh, no, that would be the inverse of what I wanted. There we go. And then this, for now, I am going to do simple meals until we have, let's say, 15 out of just meat. So this shelf can be psychoid, if we want tea. So some of our tea, our psychoid leaves, will go to psychic tea, and then some of it will go to go juice and yayo for that matter. I wonder why this is grayed out. Here, let me copy and paste the settings so I don't mess with it. So no meals. Oh, it says all meat's fine. Okay, yeah, all meat. Just meat. And then this is going to be all veg. We don't care about fungus. It doesn't bother us. So those are my 3 shelves. Ah, first combat. Just a little hair. Hey, Klein, you want to use a breach axe against it? And it's dead. Hey, Dora. And Chelsea, thank you for the resubs. Welcome. Pleasure to have you here. So drugs and drug availability is what we're going to work on. All right. To my mind, that also says do hops. Maybe you didn't mean for it to be interpreted that way, but I'm going to interpret it that way. So I'm going to do a hops field here. And then maybe another psychoid patch here. Just so that if we have a blight on one patch, it doesn't blight both. Some redundancy can help. So psychoid field 2, psychoid field 1, hops, field. Good. And I suppose getting hydroponics up might be good. Oh, hold on. Let's just get some dirt cleaning first, because Klein might not get food poisoning, but the rest of us do not want the pukies. No, sir. Oh, good. Social fighting already. And Bryce is already hypothermic because he is an Impid, and that's how Impids are. Okay, it's only slightly dirty now, so that's probably a bit more temperate for us. And then these shelves here for the meat important, veg important, psychoid important, meals important. Okay, that's correct now. I'm actually surprised that someone would fight Bryce, because Bryce is pretty, and usually they are the least likely to be punched in the face. Usually. Not always, but usually. All right. Klein, what are you working on? You are cutting some stone. How about you go smash up the exostrider a little bit? He has a breach axe. He was made for it. And then at this point, as far as food goes, let me delete a whole bunch of, because I feel like Vanilla RimWorld gives you way too many options. So this is going to be non-travel meals. So, no packaged survival meals, no pemmican, no kibble, no hay. Baby food is fine. Insect jelly, fertilized eggs, and milk, and unfertilized eggs is not fine. Raw resources, plants, and corpses, not so fine. So human meat, insect meat also don't allow. And there we go. Now, we should leave the packaged survival meals alone because they're not part of our diet anymore. So if I did that right, we won't be doing that. And there is the little alert that this is an ancient mech. How do you access commands? The commands are in the title, and all you do is exclamation mark and then the command. Oh, get away, get away, get away. So when you destroy the Exostrider, you get a mechanoid transponder, which allows you to call in an ancient ship. And I'll be doing that shortly. I'm probably going to wait for Bryce and Cypher to heal, because they decided that punching one another was like a fun activity. So once they're healed up, I will call that in. So current goal is supply drugs and call in the mech. How does the explosion not damage the transponder? RimWorld magic, baby. RimWorld magic. It's a black box, right? Black boxes are supposed to be resistant. Sort of, right? I'm making these up, but we're going to go with yes. All right, I think for now what I'm going to do is turn this into a makeshift storeroom / prison. And I am going to flip-flop which... Oh no, turn that heater on. Nope, I did that wrong again. There we go. So that we are heat dumping into the bedroom and it warms up a little bit. Oh, more meals. Hey, Klein, instead of cutting stone, let's go those meals. I wonder if there's any other meals that I've missed. I mean, the bright yellow, I should see them, but I don't. You think I left raw food, meat, and veggies in the allowed food assignments? Probably. Yeah, raw food is allowed. Well, actually, raw food should be allowed for Klein. So I am going to include it because he eats raw. So that wasn't so much an accident as it was intended. I don't think others will likely consume raw when there's a cooked option, but he can eat raw with no detrimental effects. So might as well let him dig in. The other thing I'm going to do is orders, hunt, cancel all designations, because I see Mass is running really far away to the other side of this ridge to hunt, but these ibex are a lot closer, so I'm going to hunt the ibex instead. Those deer aren't too far away. But Klein is real pissed. Yeah, that droner needs to go away. How long has that drone been here? Almost a day and a half? Yeah, that droner can piss off. Straight to hell. Go away. You're just trying to get your daily exercise in? Yeah. Well, it's definitely working. Diamond almost has the drug production. Well, I'm going to do psychid brewing, then drug production, and then also go juice and psychid refining. So what should I research after that? Be up to you. Here it is. All right, Psycho Brewing is done, and let's jump to drug production. We are also, once this poll wraps up, going to hold free and fair elections for who should be our leader. With that said, we have two people that are particularly skilled at social, Bryce and Klein. Just for your reference and for mine, Klein has a really strong immunity and is tough, whereas Bryce has a weak immunity. So when you're voting for someone to be a moral guide and someone to be a leader, keep that in mind, that moral guides, or in this case, I called them morale officers, can improve other people's immunity, but not their own. Not that you're forced to make specific decisions, just saying. Klein being in charge would give some Napoleon 1984 vibes. Nothing like a pig boss, right? I see nothing wrong with that. Some Animal Farm. Yeah, Animal Farm's leader was Napoleon. If you were wondering, I wasn't referencing French history. I'm referencing Animal Farm, because I figured that's what you meant. I'm not a well-read human, but I have read that. Andre, thank you for the resub. Happy sub day to you too. Or happy sub day for me, I suppose. There we go. So mass is now cooking. And hunting. They should be healed up pretty soon. So over here, I am going to start setting up shelving. Thank you for tuning in to We Are Legion, which originally streamed live on Twitch October 23rd. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Rhadamant.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I'll catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Legionnaire.